Hey, what's up, everyone? Mendel here. Hope is what the? No, I guess another poltergeist. Hey, what's up, everyone? Mendel here. Hey, what's up, everyone? Mendel here. Hope you're. What the? Okay, I'm just gonna ignore the light. If there's a spirit in here, flicker the light. Okay, now come on. Rational science, blah 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 blah. What are the odds if I would do it again? If there's a spirit in here, give me a sign by flickering the light. See, if there's a spirit in here, again, flicker the light. 3, 2, 1. See? I'm just gonna ignore that. It's gonna keep. You know what? So much for cinematography. Anyway, come on. Hey, what's up, everyone? Mendel here. Hope you are all doing awesome and wonderful. So for a while, two beautiful amps have been in my studio. The Driftwood Purple Nightmare and the Driftwood Purple Nightmare Signature. And I was talking to Marek, the mastermind behind Driftwood, that he came with the idea that it would be a cool idea to compare the amps, not per se against each other, but just check out the differences between the two amps in a controlled studio environment, which is my studio over here. So that's what we're going to do. First, I'm just going to have some fun just chugging through the amps. First the Purple Nightmare, then the Purple Nightmare Signature, just chugging. What's this? Oh, it's chugging. Okay. Just chugging. Chug. And then I'm going to reamp a riff through each, like the same DI, reamp through each amp. And then just listen for the differences. And maybe one is better than the other. I wouldn't say better than the other, but it could be that you or me, one prefers one over the other. Just have some fun dialing some tones and comparing amps. So let's do less talking. Let's start with the chugging. Here we go. So now it stopped flickering. If there's anyone here, if there's a spirit, flicker the light. Flicker the light in 3, 2, 1. See? Here we go. All right, here we are. So let's just first go quickly through the setup, my signal chain, and then let's do some chugging. So I got a new baby in house in here. This is a Aristides guitar, not made of wood. It's made from Arium, special material. Very cool, sick guitar. I have Mick Thompson, like the Slipknot Fishman pickups, plugged straight into the Driftwood Purple Nightmare. Everything at noon. Going into the Red 7 amp central load box. Why am I not using the Driftwood load box? I had it connected, but a couple weeks ago when cleaning in here, I dropped it and I connected to the amp and there was this big humming sound. So I think I broke it. My apologies. But I'll put a link in the description box down below because the Driftwood load box is definitely one of my favorite load boxes. And I made like a load box comparison. Anyway, into the Red 7 amp central Evo. Going into my Apollo interface, into Cubase here, and I've loaded up Cabinetron to load my impulses. I got this cool bend I got from my IRPEC Volume 2 Cap 12, blended with thick the cap from the GGD Mesa cap thing. I forgot what its name is, but the thick cap is like the red cap, and from a Bogner pack we made the Ruckner Cap 1. Blended together. Again, everything's at 12 over here. Got the gain at 12, and I'm on the high gain channel. Oh, and by the way, I'm on the active voice of the Fishman pickup. Here we go. Like Driftwood amps, at least as far as have been, because I've been testing these amps for, I think, 5 months now or something. There's a certain crunch that kind of reminds me of a bit Mesa-ish, but I would say a bit tighter than a dual rectifier. At least the most dual rectifiers I've tested. Also, by the way, the inbuilt tube screamer is turned off. For now, maybe I'll turn it on. Let's add some gain. gives me almost like Nickelback vibes. It's really thick crunching sound. But still tight. Okay, let's do a quick dial. So I'm just gonna cut out some mids, add a bit of treble, add some resonance. These cabs are pretty bright, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna add some presence sharpness, maybe a bit of bass. Let's see how this sits. Alright, so that's how the amp sounds, purely just the amp. And just quick, let's turn on the built-in tube screamer. And turn down the gain a tiny bit. So let's add a tiny bit of gain. Definitely tightens up the entire amp. I love this thing. Okay, so that's the Purple Nightmare. Now let's go to the Purple Nightmare signature. Again, do some chugging. And then I'm going to reamp a riff. And then we're going to do like, listen to the reamp and then compare them with the same settings. So here we go. Alright, so now I'm plugged straight into the Purple Nightmare signature. Again, also, first, tube screamer is turned off, the built-in tube screamer. Everything's at noon, you can't really see it because of the golden knobs and the lighting, so my apologies for that. But everything's at 12 o'clock, and let's just start chugging. One thing I want to say is, the cool thing about the Purple Nightmare signature, it has a bright switch. So I'm not talking about the sizzle switch on the power amp section, which the Purple Nightmare also has. But this one has a bright switch on the, I think, the preamp section. And that's something the original Purple Nightmare doesn't have. That's a cool feature. I'm just going to do it a couple of times, but I won't be doing that for the comparison because that won't be a fair comparison when we're going to do the reamp. So let's start chugging. Again, gain's at 12. I'm on the high gain channel. Let's add more gain because more is more. I mean, if you ask me, from what I can recall, I have very bad memory, but it sounds really, really close to the original Purple Nightmare. I wouldn't say it's a night and day difference, which wasn't the case how it was built, if I'm correct. Very, very similar. I want to say almost the same. Let's do a bit of tweaking. So I'm taking a tiny bit out of the mids, adding some bass, bit of treble, just a tad. Okay, so let's turn on the tube screamer. Let's add some rumble over here. Bit of sharpness, but a tiny bit of rumble. Let's take the bright switch. Okay, now it gets really mean. Oof. It's almost like it's getting tighter. Bright on one. Yeah, I really like that bright switch a lot. All right, I love that. I'm gonna put the bright switch back to O, and now I'm gonna reamp just a single riff through both amps, same settings, and then we'll dive into Cubase. Here we go. Magic of editing. So here is the reamp session, and I did the following. First, I just reamped the high gain channel. If I would try to compare every single option of this amp, etc., this video would be 12,000 hours. I love these amps because of their high gain capabilities, so that's what I did. So both amps at the high gain channel. So the first thing I reamped was reamping both amps with everything at 12 o'clock. The rumble, the sharp, which is the presence, I guess, bass, mid, treble, gain, volume, of course not, and the mass, of course not. They're both around 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock-ish. So I reamped with everything at 12. That's the first thing I'm going to listen to. Then I reamped both of the amps. Again, exactly the same settings as far as I could do my best because the knobs are a bit different. But I tried to look as close as possible. So I think I did a very good job. But just reamping without the tube screamer, but dialing the amp. Like take out a bit of mids, a bit of bass, add some treble. And the gain was like at 2 o'clock. So reamp that, left and right. Then left the settings, and then I engaged the tube screamer, and then reamped again. Same settings as well for the tube screamer, like volume all the way up, tone exactly 12 o'clock and gain all the way down. Reamped, and here's the session. Anyway, they're normalized. So this is the Purple Nightmare with everything at 12. Oh, and if you wanted to check out the session, like all of this is bussed. So just the normal amps is going to this PN bus. With the tube screamer, it's going to this bus. This is just with all at 12, which is going straight to the PN bus. Same thing here, going to the guitar bus, and I have like the same Cabinetron IR blend. This is the Purple Nightmare with everything at 12. Okay, this is the Purple Nightmare signature with everything at 12. Now let's go back and forth. So, at least to my ears here with these monitors, at least with my setup, to my ears it sounded the Purple Nightmare signature is a tiny bit thicker. Maybe that's because of the power tubes, because if I'm correct, the Purple Nightmare is 6L6 and the Purple Nightmare signature is EL34. I thought EL34 usually is a bit more brittle, British. In this case, I would say I prefer the signature, it's a bit thicker. Again, starting with the Purple Nightmare. Just a tiny bit thicker on the low end. So when we compare the riff, again, so the amp was dialed in, same settings on both amps. Let's listen to the riff left and right. So to me it sounds that the signature is a tiny bit more gain. I don't know why this is, because to be honest, I remember with my buddy WD months ago we did a comparison. We thought it sounded very, very, very similar. But maybe, like, I'm 100% sure I double checked all the settings are exactly identical. So I hear a tiny bit more gain. I think the signature is a bit more full, a tiny bit fuller sounding. Like I'm a couple times I'm just checking if all the settings were the same, but 100% the same. And like the bright switch, which is not on the Purple Nightmare but is on the Purple Nightmare signature, is turned off. I mean, so there is a noticeable difference. So let's check it in the mix, just for fun. I would say the signature is a tiny bit thicker and a bit more forward, and maybe the Purple Nightmare fits a tiny bit better in the mix. I would say it's a bit more scooped around like 300 Hertz. So that's it without Tube Screamer. Now let's check it out with the Tube Screamer. Starting with the Purple Nightmare. So I think the Purple Nightmare has a bit more upper mids for some reason. Again, double checking here, but yeah, the tone knob of the Tube Screamers, again, 12 o'clock. Quick check again, starting with the signature. So I think it seems to my ears they're voiced a tiny bit different. So there's that. Lastly, let's check that in the mix, starting with the Purple Nightmare. Okay, that sounds really cool. I love the tube screamer. And the signature. Overall, my opinion, I prefer the Purple Nightmare signature. Even though with the same settings, the Purple Nightmare, like the regular one, has a bit more upper mids, which cuts through the mix a bit more. I like the overall saturation, like feel, I would say, or how it sounds, at least in this mix overall. So I wouldn't say per se a winner, but overall I prefer, personal taste, the Purple Nightmare signature. Alright, so there's that. Hope you liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, hit that belly thing, subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. And you know what? See you next time. Cheers.